me, Lord, throughout this day, in all I do, in all I say. Tell me when I go astray, hold me in thy light.
Help me see that happiness comes not with wanting more but less. Teach me all my friends to bless, hold them in thy light. Guide me, Lord, throughout this day, in all I do, in all I say. Tell me when I go astray, hold me in thy light. Help me see that happiness comes not with wanting more but less. Teach me all my friends to bless, hold them in thy light. Guide me, Lord, throughout this day, in all I do, in all I say. Tell me when I go astray, hold me in thy light. Help me see that happiness comes not with wanting more but less. Teach me all my friends to bless, hold them in thy light. Hold them in thy light.
Good morning. Our readings are taken from the Rays of the One Light, weekly commentaries on the Bible and the Bhagavad Gita by Swami Kriyananda. This week is, Do You Need a Guru? Truth is one and eternal. Realize oneness with it in your deathless self within. The following commentary is based on the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda. Many people scoff at the idea of having a guru. True to human nature generally, they make a virtue of their scoffing. I am responsible for what I do, they announce, responsible for my mistakes as well as for my victories. What would I ever learn if I handed over my development to someone else? To depend on another for guidance would be an act of spiritual cowardice. It would be understandable for someone gifted with some trivial ability, for instance with words, to insist on doing his crossword puzzle himself without letting anyone else help him. But supposing, even in such trivial matters, he had no such gift, what virtue would there be in refusing to learn? For that matter, moreover, where do our gifts come from? They are not a native ability. Still, crossword puzzles are hardly an important challenge. What if a person wanted to do something daring, to climb a cliff, for instance, but refused to study the art of mountain climbing? He would climb at the risk of his life. And how much more is risked than physical life in the great adventure of the divine search, where the risk is to salvation itself? Where is the sacrifice in seeking guidance? Even a mountain guide wouldn't presume to do one's climbing for one. His purpose would be only to help the neophyte to climb safely. To have a wise guru is not a sign of weakness, but of plain common sense. All the saints, aware as they are of the hazards of the adventure, agree on the importance of having a guide or guru. And these are the heroes speaking, not cowards or spiritual weaklings. Jesus emphasized the importance of having a teacher by asking John to baptize him. In the Gospel of St. Matthew, chapter 3, we read of his coming to John. Thus, Jesus said to John, it becometh us to fulfill all righteousness. In the Bhagavad Gita, the 4th chapter, Sri Krishna says, open thyself to those who have attained wisdom. They will be thy teachers. Ask questions of them, both verbally and mentally. Serve them faithfully and with devotion. How is the devotee to recognize one who has attained wisdom? The Bhagavad Gita gives us this inspiring description of the sage. By this sign is he known, being of equal grace to comrades, friends, chance-comers, strangers, lovers, enemies, aliens, and kinsmen, loving all alike, evil or good. Thus, through Holy Scripture, God has spoken to mankind.
Good morning, everyone. How is everybody today? Great and ready. Yay. Thank you, everyone, for coming and joining us this morning. For those of you who don't know us, my name is Nayaswami Gangamata. This is my husband, Nayaswami Daiva, and it's our joy to be here today. And I thought we would begin with Whispers from Eternity. I have a couple of bookmarks. Sometimes it's hard to know which one to read. There's so many good ones. But I think I'm just going to open the book. Here it is. So this one is really fun. It's called, it's number 199. And it's Endless Thrills of Delight. I attuned my life with thine. Now my life has become a long, unbroken inspiration. Thy fountain of bliss refreshes and delights me night and day, whether I be wakeful, fast asleep, or dreaming fondly of thee. Oh, what has become of me? Delight on overwhelming delight, endless, indescribable thrills of divine delight spray unceasingly over me. O aged nectar, wine of centuries, I found thee at last, and will taste of thy sweetness forever, forever, forever. When I first found this path, I could connect with so many things I heard, living in spiritual community, having the support of like-minded friends, the teachings and the philosophy, the simple living, the high thinking, the practice of meditation. I could feel the calmness and more peace in my life by doing those practices. But when the topic of a guru came up, now I wasn't so sure. Many years ago, Swami Kriyananda was being interviewed by a journalist, and the journalist asked him, "Do you need a guru?" And Swami Kriyananda surprised the journalist by saying no, pretty emphatically. But then he paused and he said, "Unless you want to find God, then of course you need a guru." The first words that Swami Kriyananda said to Yogananda when he met him was, "I want to be your disciple." Not like his servant, not like turning his life over so he couldn't make any decisions on his own, but Swami Kriyananda wanted to know God, and he knew that Yogananda was a God-realized master. It's like if we want to be good in anything, right? If we want to be good in art, right? We can dabble and call it art. I remember many years ago when I was wanting to get into watercolor, I went to the library and got a book. These were in the old days, before YouTube, before the internet. Now you can Google anything, right, and learn it at home. But back then I got a book from the library and I started to dabble with watercolor paint. And I created a few creations and I was proudly showing them to my friend. And she was really kind. She said, you may want to think about getting lessons someday. But it's true with anything, with music, with carpentry, the example in the reading. If we want to climb Mount Everest, right, we get a guide to help us up the mountain. But how much truer is that on the spiritual path, right? To connect ourselves with those who know, those who have gone where we're trying to go. We may have a strong ego, we may have all these great skills and talents, but they'll only get us so far. They don't know the divine realms. And again, that's where the guru can come in. I was remembering a saying of Yogananda, God is center everywhere, circumference nowhere. What does that mean? It's a state of consciousness. It's hard to really grasp, isn't it? A man was trying to understand the nature of God, and he asked God, he said, "God, how long is 1,000,000 years to you?" And God said, "Well, it's like a minute." And then the man asked God, he said, "How much is $1,000,000 to you?" And God says, "Well, it's like a penny." And the man really wisely said, "Well, God, could you give me a penny?" And God replies, "In a minute." A disciple of Yogananda's was, I don't know if pestering was the word, but he kept asking him, "Give me samadhi, give me samadhi." Samadhi is a state of cosmic consciousness, of all-knowing, the ultimate experience of God. And Yogananda got really stern with him. He said, "If I gave it to you, could you take it?" And the disciple said, "No, sir." And it takes time. We have to gradually grow into it. And that's where the guru comes in. The guru is like that transformer for that divine consciousness. The great thing with a guru, he will guide you along the way, show you that divine example, but he won't keep you for your own. A true guru is there only to help you. Again, at a luncheon, somebody went up to Yogananda and said, I hear that Dr. Lewis was your first disciple. Dr. Lewis was the first disciple he had when he came to America in the 1920s in Boston. And Yogananda got very stern with this disciple. He says, that's what they say. And he could see the person was a little taken back. And Yogananda explained, I never keep them for my own. They're God's disciples. And again, that's what a true guru will do. He will show you the way. He will show you your higher self. There is a great story of our kindergarten down at the village. During the year, they played this game called Little Self, Big Self. And whenever in the class, whenever they were not being so nice to each other or maybe taking each other's lunch or whatever you do in kindergarten that's not so nice, they would say, to each other, you're being in your little self. But whenever they acted kindly towards each other and maybe shared their toys or, again, their lunch or whatever you do in kindergarten that's really kind, and when they thought of their friends or helped them, they would say, you're in your big self. And at the end of the year, it was so sweet. This little boy went up to his teacher and he said, I don't remember being my little self anymore. He had become his big self, through what? Through the practice of remembering kindness, love, joy, sharing, all the qualities you focus on when you're in kindergarten. But here we are, we're also in the classroom, maybe a little higher than kindergarten, but we're learning, right? We're learning techniques. Yogananda brought the techniques of self-realization. He said energization, Hong Sa, Om technique, Kriya plus devotion will bring you to God. If we do these techniques, they will bring us to God. And what happens, we learn these techniques, and this is for those we've been on the path a long time, and we can forget them, or we can stop doing some of them, or we forget the joy that's in them, or they become stale, right? It's just like anything, right? If you just kind of do something, sometimes you lose energy for it, you lose enthusiasm. But we're reminded again that these 5 things will bring us God, will show us the way. So living in community, again, supporting each other, living with like-minded people that can remind us why it's important to do these practices, why we come to classes. We're having a review of the energization right now. Come if you can, because you may get a little tidbit. You may just get one little thing, and it may seem like a little drop. Maybe I'm supposed to just stand a little taller, but you don't know what difference that could make. And we forget every step along the way, even a little practice as we read every week of this inward religion will free us. Even a little practice. So why are we waiting? But we're so hard on ourselves, right? And we forget. I know for myself, I didn't meditate this morning. I was a bad person. I was fidgety a lot. I thought about Sunday service. What am I going to say? Oh no. All these things. And we're so hard on ourselves, but we forget how close we are. And Yogananda's promise, it takes very, very, very good karma to even want to know God. Here we are with very, very good karma to be here this morning, right? We could be having a good cup of coffee together somewhere. But we're here. The desire, again, even a little practice. Krishna, he just promises, even if you offer me a leaf, a fruit or flower in my name, it's accepted with great joy because it comes from you, that joy. The Guru is here to bring us home. There's a story of the 3 men that were living in a dusty village, and at the end of the village was this huge wall, and the 3 men went to the wall, and nobody had ever ventured past this wall. And the first of the 3 men said, I want to go up and see what's on top of that wall. So he asked the other 2 to help him up, and he made his way up the wall, and when he got up to the top, he just said, oh my gosh! And then he just fell over, and they never heard from him again. So then the second man said, I want to see what's going on the other side of this wall. So he asked the other man to help him. He makes his way up. Oh my gosh. And then he goes over the wall, and they never see him again. And finally the third man, and I don't know how he did this, but somehow the third man gets himself up the wall, this tall wall, goes up, and what does he see? He sees the most beautiful garden he had ever seen. He saw paradise. And his heart longed to be there. He said, I have come home. But then he remembered all the other residents in the dusty village, and he said, I can't leave them. I need to go back. I need to go back and tell them about this beautiful paradise, and then I will bring them with me up this wall again. So that's what he did. That's what the Guru does. He comes back to show us the way. He comes back for us. And in every moment, a disciple of Yogananda said, is when we make the vow to be a disciple, every moment then we're giving to the Guru, every single moment. What are we thinking in that moment? The beautiful song this morning, every day, every thought, what am I thinking? Where does my happiness come from? But every thought, as a disciple now, we're giving to God. How could have I done better in this situation? Could have I thought of you more? How could I do this better? How could I love you more? How could I share your feeling? Every single moment then becomes an opportunity to live in His presence, to live in God's presence, in the Guru's presence. And we're so blessed because, as Diva mentioned, there is a lot going on in the world right now. It's a difficult time. And so to have the Guru, to hold on to the Guru, to know that all this is part of Him, all that's going on. But what are we going to do with that? We're going to keep our hearts open, keep loving, keep giving, doing our peace and harmony prayer, offering the best we can in every moment. Because again, even a little practice, we can't forget that. Even a little practice. It's not rocket science. It's not, Yogananda brought these 5 techniques. You can learn them. You can learn the energization so you have more energy. You can learn the practice of meditation, Hong Sa. I am spirit. Every time we do Hong Sa, I am spirit. You can find God doing Hong Sa. I am spirit. The Om technique takes us into the deeper realms, and then Kriya, the airplane route to God. For those of us who have Kriya, doing our Kriyas faithfully and regularly, and then devotion. Again, if we offer just a fruit, a flower, anything in our name, God accepts it with such great joy. And so, I don't know if I have anything more to add. There's a beautiful story in the autobiography of a yogi. When Yogananda is a young man, he leaves his guru, Sri Yukteswar, for a while. He's out. And when he comes back, he's worried that his guru is going to be mad at him. And Sri Yukteswar greets him instead lovingly and offers to make him some food, as if he's only been gone a few hours. And Yogananda says to his guru, "Aren't you mad at me?" And Sri Yukteswar says, "No, I'm only," and I'm paraphrasing, it's a really beautiful section in the autobiography, but I'm happy only in your own true happiness. This is a true guru. And so our quest for God is an inner quest. It's between us and God. God knows our heart. And so let's offer our whole being, heart, all of our efforts, knowing that He's there guiding us along the way and helping us in our journey. I'd like to end with a reading this is from Songs of the Soul. This is Yogananda's poem, When I Am Only a Dream. I come to tell you all of Him and the way to encase Him in your bosom, and of the discipline that brings His grace. Those of you who have asked me to guide you to my beloved's presence, I warn you through my silently talking mind, or speak to you through a gentle, significant glance, or whisper to you through my love, or loudly dissuade you when you stray away from Him. But when I shall become only a memory, or a mental image, or a silently speaking voice, when no earthly call will ever reveal my whereabouts in unplumbed space, when no shallow entreaty or stern stentorian command will bring from me an answer, I will smile in your mind when you are right, and when you are wrong, I will weep through your eyes, dimly peering at you in the dark, and weep through your eyes perchance. I will whisper to you through your conscience. I will reason with you through your reason, and I will love all through your love. When you are able no longer to talk with me, read my whispers from eternity. Eternally through it I will talk to you. Unknown I will walk by your side and guard you with invisible arms. As soon as you know my beloved and hear His voice in silence, you will know me again more tangibly than you knew me on this earthly plane. And yet, when I am only a dream to you, I will come to remind you that you too are not but a dream of my heavenly beloved. And when you know you are a dream, as I know now, we will be ever awake in Him. Om. Peace. Amen.